Welcome to my YouTube channel, and please subscribe and click the notification button so that you don't miss updates. Thank you. This is current press release on NGO crediting and funding January 9th, 2024.
This time around is powered by GNU Grant Mobilization Resource Center. That is GNU Grant is powered by GNU Grant Mobilization Foundation. Let me just shorten it like that. So you're welcome to today's chat show. We got a special guest on the hot seat. He's a doctor, he's a PhD holder, and he'll be coming on the hot seat to dissect a lot of things for us. He goes by the name Dr. Mafaleni. Dr. Mafaleni Ajer. Doctor, you're welcome to the hot seat, sir.
All right, thank you so much. It's a pleasure being part of the program, and I think it's my desire that I have this opportunity to speak to this great house. I'm on the hot seat, and I'm ready to go.
All right, straight up, no ice. You found out from the doctor. You have vast experience when it comes to the grant community, not just the fake grants we have in the grant community being ruled by the clergymen. He has vast, knowledge about grants community worldwide. All right, sir, can you tell us more about yourself, your portfolio, sir? We'd like to meet you.
Okay, my name is Dr. Maxner. I'm a development practitioner with over 28 years experience working with the donor community. I hold 2 PhDs in international development and in public health. And I've put 26 active years in development work. That's without a break. And in the international development arena, I have consulted for several international development organizations, beginning from the UN system. I've consulted for UNFPA, consulted for UNDP, consulted for UNICEF, and for the USAID project, I've consulted for FHI 360. I was a lead consultant when the GAIN FHI project started. I've also served as a lead consultant for the Global Fund. It's one of the biggest funding agencies for the states in the South. And I have put in the UN system, in the USAID system, and in the DFID system. USAID, United States Agency for International Development. There are several funds that are brought under this umbrella by the US government, and they are shared through different categories of donor agencies. You have international development partners. You have multilateral agencies. All of them are supported by the UN system through USAID. DFID is Department for International Development of the British High Commission, and under this you have different programs like Oxfam and all that. They fund activities through several international development partners. And then of course you have like JICA, the International Japanese International Cooperation Agency. You have for Germany GTZ. Now these are bigger umbrellas through which some of these countries come in, and then they decide to form categories of development organizations. Under the umbrella of the development organizations, you have them in different categories, and as the questions will arise, I'll begin to speak with them. But generally, we like to look at them under the umbrella of not-for-profit and for-profit. Now, this background I'm giving is that these are the various organizations I have consulted for. And for the South region, I have done several things across almost all the states. So within the West African sub-region, I have traversed the English-speaking arena. So this is just like a background, but I think much more will begin to come. In those areas of sustainable human development, my expertise are in the area of operational research, proposal development, organizational development and management, in the areas of health, socioeconomic empowerment, climate change, human rights, and justice. So all these are all encompassing and are broad areas which I have done. Right now, I'm already providing that technical support to the Southeast arena, where I'm working on what I call the alternative to issues of peace and conflict resolution, using skills acquisition and all that. And then in Cross River State, I'm currently working with young people using sports as an instrument of reducing social vice, using it as an instrument of entertainment and economic empowerment. So in the development arena, depending on your target population and your audience, you know exactly where you want. And then I will land up with the issues of funding, which we are looking at. Fundings are multidimensional, but I'll be able to speak as the questions begin to arise in those areas. So that's just a synopsis, like an executive summary of my background and expertise. So I'll be available as I'm sitting on the hot seat. Whichever question, I will select them. So we can start going.
All right, that was straight up no ice, intelligently dissected by the doctor. Still got the doctor Mackenzie Lee on the hot seat. Sorry for not pronouncing the name properly. We got the doctor on the
Okay.
hot seat, Lani on the hot seat today. Today's Tuesday, 9th of January 2024. All right, sir, you're doing good. Are you aware of these activities of this fake grant handler in this country? This fake grants machine in the country, like Theobarth, like UAG, EDC. Are you aware of the activity starting from saying, sir?
Okay. I'm careful of choice of words. I don't want to call them fake grants or whatever it is. But one thing I have said from the word go, I have said clearly the modus operandi and the way people have been brought in. I told people some 8 years ago that one single kobo cannot come. No donor will wake up and just start telling you, do this, we'll give you 5 million, we'll give you 5 days. All of them are shambolic. No donor operates that way. So the things I've heard, there are some, whether they call them Tepecom, whatever names, they ask you to put people in clusters, register them as cooperative organizations, and tell you that people should fill form, write business plan. They're going to give them 5 million, 10 million, and all that. I think it's, a way that they've been able to win hook the poverty-stricken community. They've taken advantage of the gullibility of the people who are looking for quick ways to get money and do things. They have captured their minds in that area, and you tell people to begin to contribute money. I'm saying it emphatically. They can continue like this, and I assure you for the next 10 years, one single kobo will not be given to anybody, because that is not how donor agencies operate. That is not how civil society organizations operate. That is not how development partners operate. Development partners operate in a very structured way and are shared into 2 blocks, bilateral and multilateral. I will talk more on that. So answering your question, yes, I'm aware of the activities which are going on, and I keep advising people that it will never work. I'm not talking from the corner. I have 2 of my sisters who have spent through their nose on this. And just yesterday, one of them came back and told me, he said, now I understand what you were saying. It's not possible. It doesn't work that way. It's deceit. It's deceit. People are being deceived. And it's unfortunate that so many people are falling prey to it. That's not how the donor community works. And any organization that is coming in the name of calling itself an NGO or a civil society organization or a community development organization and is adopting that approach, I'm sorry, you're leading yourself astray. And the moment there's a huge trust deficit between you and your target population, you're gone. You've lost it. So in summary, that's not the way organizations work. It's deceitful. It's a scam.
Hello. So that's from the doctor himself. We got the hottest doctor on the hot seat today. The grant community worldwide. It's not just peculiar to the grant community in this clergyman grant community that is highly corrupt since 2016 down the line. No grants is disbursed. But he's talking about the global and the real policies grants need to take. If you're just joining us, this is me, myself, and I, the electrifying Hitman. I am Michael. Today's Tuesday, 9th of January, 2024. I got on the hot seat the Dr. Macfarlane on the hot seat. Anyway, sir, Let me hit you with the next question.
Okay.
What is happening? Okay. What do you know about grants and NGO funding? Do you think it is possible for an NGO to secure such huge amounts of grants or money to start sharing on the streets?
Clearly, I want us to be, deliberate in this question. NGOs is a bigger umbrella when we say non-governmental organization. These are non-state actors who are working in partnership with the state with the sole aim of bettering the lives of the people. The bigger umbrella is civil society organizations, when we call them. Under civil society organization, you have profit and non-profit, you have faith-based and community-based organizations. Now, if I understand you following the ones that people are coming out to say, put cooperatives together, and that you tell them you will give them this huge amount of money, that in itself, that's not how the grant community operates. That's not how development partners operate. That's not how civil society operates. Let me give us a background on how civil society organizations operate and how grants and fundings operate. Grants clearly means that you're giving the person that money to do something without the intention of getting that from the person. It could be free, it could be revolving, it could be seed grant. There's also what we call outright loan. These are given to organizations based on profit making, and you can get them from banks based on your proposal. But in the NGO community, there's what we call solicited and unsolicited funding. Solicited funding means that the funder has advertised and has said, we have funding for so and so activity. This is a criteria for inclusion, criteria qualification, where we fund activities to do this in this geographical area. For you to qualify, they put down the conditions. They will give you a thing and say you can apply. Based on that, people can now apply organizations. And they tell you outright the number of organizations that we fund. Clearly, let me cite, for instance, UNICEF deals with states. UNICEF is a bilateral organization. They deal with government and they decide outright to government and say, this year we want to work with mothers and children. Each state that they are working with, they decide to tell them this is the amount of money we are going to put. And they develop what they call an annual operational plan, which is done with them. And there's a modality to fund that. The states are funded. Where they are dealing with NGOs, community-based organizations, they ask the community-based organizations to write proposal based on guidelines that they have brought. And they give you a ceiling. That's talking about bilateral organizations like UNICEF, UNFPA, and all other organizations that fall within that. Last year, I just finished writing a proposal on sexual and reproductive health for the NGO I work with for in-school youth. And I deliberately selected areas that I needed to focus because there is a problem statement. They will tell you what is the problem that you intend to address. So this is the kind of background you have organizations that are going to address. But when you want to compare to what is going on, that people will come and tell you, we will give you money, we will empower you. What is the word empowerment? What's the meaning? Empowerment is a blanket word. So people are being deceived in that area. And when we want to look at it, any funder funding an organization is not amorphous, it's not hidden. The funder who is funding you is either sourcing the money directly from some other area or is a principal implementing partner, where you call a principal IP. For instance, the UN or maybe Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation can decide to say, we select organization ABC to become a principal recipient to work in Nigeria, in the South. We want to work in the 6 states, but we work through one organization. And the organization will work through 6 organizations, 1 in each of the states, or 12 organizations, 2 in each of the states. There is a reporting guideline. They will tell you what they want to address, and you develop your proposal line to address that. But these other ones who are scamming people, there is no such. And they keep saying they will deceive some people and tell you that, no, it is the World Bank, it is this. I challenge them, I've consulted for the World Bank. World Bank doesn't fund like that. Everything about World Bank is on the website of the World Bank. So any of them who is saying is World Bank, they should bring it. So in summary, organizations that are going to access funding, you can access funding based on proposals you develop, and the proposals are addressing problems, because every proposal has a problem statement which is addressing. There is an impact and an evaluation table. There is a time frame for that intervention, so that at the end, the funders will begin to assess you to say, okay, you said you were going to do this in Ogoniland. At the time you started, the problem was 60%. And you hope that in 4 years, you must have reduced the problem to about 10%. There is a baseline you put, which you use, and they begin to do monitoring. In monitoring the activities, there's what we call process monitoring, which allows you to monitor while the intervention is going on, and you can begin to check them. And there's a mid-term evaluation and terminal monitoring, which all of them will lead into an impact assessment. So if you use this guideline to assess all these people who are scamming people here, none of them falls into it. And even in the next 20 years, no person will give you, because funding in the international community is scarce. The funding is directed at particular things. So that's just the entire arrangement. Nobody gets funding like that. If they are genuine civil society organizations, there are processes will take them through, and you begin to put it. 28 years of working within the civil society, 26 active years. It's not a joke. And I'm talking from, I've worked across all the cadre.
Right, straight up, no ice. You just felt it from the doctor himself. He has a vast experience when it comes to the grants community. Let me welcome Pastor Legendary Andrew from Jos. The legend, Andrew from Jos, you can speak. Say hi to us, sir.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma.
Good evening, Andrew.
Yes, sir.
Pastor Andrew is a legend in this grants community. He's a comrade. He has been fighting for us since 2016. He knows all the scammers. He has worked with all the scammers from Same to Tepicon, whatever. He knows all the bad guys in the grants community from Ken, EDC like that, Apostles, even the Tio himself. All right, we're still powering on with a chat show today, special one. We got the doctor, Aja, on the hot seat, dissecting things internationally to the class. All right, sir. I want to follow up the question you just answered. That means Tepicom that claimed that they got 720 billion naira, that's dollars, in 2022, and Theobarth claims that they would empower 50 million Nigerians with 1.8 million each. That means it's not possible, sir. It's not visible.
I challenge them to prove me wrong. It's fraud. They don't have such amount of money. Where is the money kept? And why are you not giving it? Every donor that is providing money has a time frame. Since 2020, they're saying 2026, they've been saying 2016. I've been saying this, deceiving Nigerians. No donor gives you money to keep. Monies are tight. They are time bound. And where you don't spend it, they channel that money to another area that is deserving. Are you aware that there's paucity of funds in the development arena? And so for whatever funds that people generate, they are generated to address issues. So I challenge them. And I'm saying it without fear of contradiction, that if they have such money, let them prove us wrong. It's our right to invoke the Freedom of Information Act and get it. Who is keeping the money? They told big lies, the central bank. Central bank is the banker's bank. Central bank doesn't keep money for organizations or individuals. So where would the money be in central bank? So these are all lies that they have been telling people. They don't have such money. Nobody has funded them to that tune.
All right. What is the, sir,
Hello?
the doctor is doing fine on the hot seat. Can you tell us the duration of a grant? The time the grant needs to be assessed, that is registration of the grant, and the time the registration will close, and the time for disbursement. Just just educate us on the time frame. And is it possible that if the grant holder fails to disburse the grant, can the donor retrieve back the grant?
Now, grants are donor specific. Grants are time specific. There's what we call urgent grants, emergency grants. If there are crises, people's lives, let me begin from the area of fundamental human rights. There's emergency funds to protect activists in some instance. And the call for that, you can access it as an organization. If you meet the criteria or the problem you intend to address meets that criteria, and you can get them very fast. There are things we call rapid response funds, RRF. Each of the organization has its time frame. Sometimes an organization can call for proposal and give 21 days. Some can give 3 months for you to write the proposal and send. And once you submit the proposal and the time for submission closes, it goes through the process of selection. And a process of selection is competitive. They are always advertised, and you do that. I challenge any of these ones who are telling us that they got grant from any donor. They didn't get from any donor. No donors advertise. There is what we call solicited and unsolicited proposal. Solicited proposal means that the donor has advertised. Unsolicited is that you as an organization, you can write to a prospective funder and telling them, this is the problem I have in mind. Let me give you a typical example. I want to do a football competition to address peace and conflict resolution in an area. And I decide to write to Coca-Cola as a corporate organization and tell them this is what I want to do. It is left for me to convince them. If they buy into it, they are going to fund me as an organization. And their funding might come to me from a manner that we call an unsolicited funding. But if Coca-Cola gets up today and says, okay, we are going to fund the organization. Right now, some organizations are calling for funding for climate change. Check the website. You can find them and you see them. Call for proposals are available. And then when the time elapses, you cannot get that funding. You submit your proposal. So these are what we call time frame. Every organization has a time frame in what they do. So for the ones that these people are talking, whether SEM, whether Pepecom, they don't, I challenge them to the reality of the situation. It's not true.
Straight up, no ice. You just saw that from the Dr. Ajer on the hot seat. Is dissecting the grants community internationally. We'll be coming to question time, Mr. New Vision. Just relax a little bit. The doctor, do we have any secrecy in this grants business? The secrecy of hiding information of the donor, EDC, like the way these grants handlers have been operating since 2016, sir? Hello, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello.
speak up. Did you get the question?
Okay. Yes. Grants are not held in secret. That's the truth about it. Every grant that comes out comes from a community. If there's what we call PEPFAR. PEPFAR is the Presidential Emergency Fund for HIV and AIDS in Africa. It comes from the USA, United States of America, and that fund is sent through USAID. That fund is publicized. Every amount that is sent is collected from the taxpayers' money in the United States of America. How will you hold such grant in secrecy when people are demanding for accountability? You find MTN Foundation, let me come home. These are foundations that the profits they make, they plow it into the non-profit arm of it and use it to support. How will you say those grants are held and done secretly? Every grant that is meant to empower people is done in the open. Information about it is open. That's what we call transparency. Because every organization is expected to do what we call your audited accounts, your statement of accounts. Your statement of accounts clearly shows what your income and expenditure is. You're expected to develop a work plan to defend the budget you're sending for the grant you're soliciting for or for the funding you're soliciting for. So why would you say it's in secret? So the secrecy that they're putting around here is only to continue to scam people. That's the truth about it. None of them has gotten any grants from any development organization. I dare them to prove me wrong.
You just
Hello?
the doctor on the hot seat. He's doing good. All right, doctor. How do you help? What is the advice to NGOs under Genu grants mobilization platform that are trying to seek for their own grants? What areas can you advise them on how to, the areas they will have to follow legally to seek for their own grants and approval?
Now, for every organization that has existed, you have existed for a reason or a cause. So the cause that you have existed for becomes your main focus. There is a reason you have come in. The moment you identify the reason, the next line of actions you're going to do is to address those reasons. So as an organization, it means that you have some form of resources, which could be financial or non-financial, to address that matter. By the time you put that now, you need to put what we call an organizational structure to help you. As an organization, you bring in what you have. Sometimes it could be human resource. It could be knowledge about the environment. And then you need resources to enable you carry out the intervention. When you put that together and identify what your problem is, the next is to do identification of your target audience. And when you identify the target audience, you further do segmentation. So in summary, for organizations that have been established, what we need to do is to do capacity building for those organizations. Until you have the minimum capacity, you will not be able to apply for funding. We finish the climate change activity. There are 1,001 donor agencies willing to support people to do interventions that will ensure that the environment is healed. And you need to address it. Let me give you a typical example as you see the connection between climate and poverty reduction. If we want to do climate change, one of the things we do is to stop deforestation. So if an organization has come up and say they're coming here for sustainable forest development, so it means that organization's interest is to stop deforestation and also grow the forest. You must tie that to a problem. Hello, are you following me?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello? Okay. So that organization's at the side. Okay. Now, it means the problem within that area is that people are cutting down the trees in an unsustainable manner. What are they cutting it for? If they are cutting it to make firewood, to make an end to a living, for you to stop them, you need to provide an alternative skill. As an organization, if there are people who are depending on firewood for survival, you have to change their trade. If there are people who are using firewood to cook food, you have to change their source of energy. If you apply for funding now, say this is a problem we have identified, this is a solution. If we're able to have money to change people's life from depending on the forest for survival, and we'll give them alternative skills, we're able to change people's source of energy from forest energy, depending on firewood, and we give them gas, it will help us grow back the forest. We can empower rural communities and women instead of deforesting the thing to do replanting. You will tie all these activities together and funds are given to you. You tie activities together that you do capacity building, and that the woman who used to cut trees to sell for survival, you can change her trade. Instead of cutting trees, she can have fun to set up small markets to sell. And you do what we call market analysis, so that what she's selling is what people demand. This is the intricacies and the nexus around the proposal you're going to develop, all in the area of climate change. Organizations that are interested will fund you. But if you, as an organization that you're just created, an NGO, is just one step, being created and having a legal document. The next step for us is to do capacity building. A lot of us think that things will fall from the sky. No. You must have some form of capacity. And so my advice to organizations that have existed, that have passion, that have registered and have come up, we must be willing to do capacity building. I spent a lot in the area of capacity building. Today I can relax because the staff working in my organization, it was my organization when it was in my head. The moment the vision came in and they came in, it became our organization. And we ensure that each of them has the required technical capacity. Build them, they develop the proposal. Some will identify a problem and are able to develop that problem, the proposal to a fundable proposal. There are 1,001 donors who are looking for proposals to fund, but it must meet the minimum requirement. And so for new organizations, first, we need to do a mapping of those organizations, identify where their areas of interest are, identify their age in terms of when they were registered, identify their strengths and weaknesses, and do a tailored training. Develop a training curriculum that is tailor-made to suit their needs. And once that is done and they have the minimal capacity, each of them can begin to fly. I'll be willing to provide mentoring capacity after the training, so that when they do the training, you must, as more proposals you write, you get technical knowledge. It begins to improve. By the time they finish the training, whenever I do proposal writing training, organizational development, at the end of the training, people must come home with a draft proposal, which they can submit. And we say, okay, within the next 3 to 4 months, which area are you going to focus? Are you interested in reducing teenage pregnancy? Are you interested in reducing women's dependence on men for economic survival? By extension, addressing the issues of sexual exploitation, human rights. Are you interested in protecting the environment? So by the time we know where you are interested in, we tailor your proposal and begin to identify donor communities where you can send this proposal to. They will respond to you directly. And when you meet their requirement, fundings will be made available. At that point, I can be providing the mentoring skill, where somebody you have a challenge, you're able to reach me, you're able to call me, and we do it. That's the only way we can grow. There's no shortcut to development work. And the moment you have this capacity, the sky is not your limit. You can fly anywhere. So that's what we need to do for organizations that have just been created, some who have fallen prey into these wrong hands. We can look at your energies and see how we can get you going. But if you were formed for the sole purpose that you just want to get money, the problem in mind you want to address, you're good to go.
All right, straight up, no ice.
Hello.
From doctor. You got the double doctor, PhD in different fields twice. Dr. Aja on the hot seat today. Today's Tuesday, 9th of January 2024. All right, finally, sir, what is the difference between a grant and a project?
Between what?
Between a grant. Is there anything like grants, giving out money is the way they explain it in Nigeria, the way it goes here? Grants and projects, like EPIC project, Hope project, grants of Tepicom, grants of Theobarth, grants of UAAG, dashing people's money. What's the difference between these grants? What's the difference between a grant and a project? And is anything like grants in existence or projects?
Now, there are grants all over the world. And grants are meant for projects, programs, and interventions. The ones that are being done now, you are calling Theobarth, you're calling Tepicom, you're calling SEN. They are merely looking at existing structures and deceiving people as it is. Who is Theobarth? Who is Tepecom? Who is SEM? What is their mission? What is their vision? These are the questions do they want to address. Where is the proposal that they have written? Who are their primary target audience? So these people are just scamming people. They are not getting money anywhere. Any organization who wants to get funding, set yourself, get the minimal technical capacity. Go online, you can see funding organizations, but you cannot get it easily if you don't understand the funding language. And that funding language can only be got when we do a technical capacity building training. So these people, grants are everywhere, but there are conditions to qualify for it. There are grants for organizations that, for instance, wants to stop female circumcision. There are grants for organizations who want to work against on a gender-based violence. But you must be an organization. Show them a track record that you have passion in this area. You have a minimal knowledge of gender-based violence. So the Tepecom system, SEM system, and all that, those ones are not it. Those ones are not organizations that are applying for grants. They are scamming people. Hello?
All right, it's like we're having a technical issue, network problem. The doctor, can you feel me?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Doctor.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Go on.
Where did you hear
You're
me?
done. Yeah. All right, this is still the chat show. Hello? Are you done talking, sir?
Yeah, I don't know where you heard me stop, but I think I provided that answer
towards the end.
Okay, so your question, if I understand you, what's the difference between grants, as it were, and the way these other people are presenting it? That's what you asked.
And project. That means there's a difference between a grant and a project. Is there any difference between a grant and a project?
Now, a grant is the source of the materials, the resources required to execute a project. So the resources, grant is simply that resources I'm giving.
Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the inches we can feel now. You know, the network problem in the country is bad. Doctor, can you feel me, sir? All right, this is still the chat show. Today, Tuesday, 9th of January, 2024. We are about going to the middle of the year, of the month. Sorry. January is fast spinning. Before we know what's up, tomorrow is 10th of January. We still got the double doctor, Aja, on the hot seat today. This show is powered by Genuine Grant Mobilization Movement. And the CEO of the Genuine Grant, the president happens to be the legendary Madam Blessing. Anyways, this is a question segment. If you have any question to ask the doctor, you can raise your hand and ask him. Okay, I got the man, No Vision. No Vision, sir. You can speak.
Good evening, House. Good evening, I am Michael. I want to really commend the efforts of Madam Blessing in grant community. She has been shouting that there is no grant. Now, everybody, we have seen the situation now. So I want to ask the doctor in the house, what is the way forward? Is it possible we brought all these scammers to book? This is my question.
Hello, I didn't get you. Like, say, is it possible to do what?
To brought all these promising us the grants to book. They don't have grants and they are promising us a grant. Is it possible we brought them to book?
Yes. It is possible that they can be brought to book. Now, let me ask some of you the information we have. You attend meetings with them. Sometimes they call you for meetings. By the time you're entering the meeting proper, they don't even allow you with phones. Nothing is recorded. Information is not given to you. And so you don't have anything to hold. But if you want to invoke the Freedom of Information Act, we can use that and get them. For those of you who have not gone too far, please, my suggestion is just jettisoning your idea with them. This is fake, it's fraud. It does not work. They come and tell you, tell you, tell you, Theobarth. Nothing. 1 naira will not come to you. It's a scam. I've stayed here for the past 10 years, and I'm still going to say it. Yeah. So forget them. You can sit, you can go to court.
All right, that was
Hello?
it from the Dr. Ajer on the hot seat. Do we still have any more questions? More questions? Pastor Andrew, legendary, do you have anything to say, sir?
Yes, really, I sincerely appreciate this eye-opening because I think people like us, the kind of trade we face in grant community. Like, you know, our picture, we are going everywhere, our names, our phone numbers. People will tell you, send your address that they will follow you. Why? Because you are trying to tell them the truth. You can see now. Thank God. Now, what we have been saying, he cleared it. Now, we come to know people, they have been impacting fear in us that we cannot do anything, you cannot sugar. Now you can see what we have been trying to tell you, that if we can come together, we have a lot of evidence against these people. Even their voice note alone telling us they are giving us trillions, billions, all this. That and our evidence, our proof of payment. But the problem is their voice, their paid agents are deceiving a lot of masses against us. The more we are trying our best to help them out, the more all these grand handlers, paid agents will be deceiving them. They are turning against us. So thank God for this eye-opening today. I really appreciate you, Doctor. You make me today to be proud of myself. I am a Michael. I am proud of you. Madam Blessing, I am. Thank you very much. I think that is all I have for now.
All right, that was one of the frontrunners, one of the soldiers, the generals in this grant community. He has been fighting for a long time for us to be, for people's eyes to be open, like he said. All our pictures are circulated with social media, including me, myself, and Nida is talking. Up to date, they believe that Ayamo Michael is the biggest threat to UAG, Apostle Ken Mass. It's a fake grant. Like we've heard now, all those grants that are promising us millions, that will give us millions on the way, blah, 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 they're all fake. From the doctor himself. All right, doctor, I want to hit you with one of these questions. Is it possible in the grant, does money change hands from the beneficiaries, all these clusters, sales of clusters, sales of sponsorship, EDC like that in a grant, sir?
Hello, I didn't get the question.
I said in a grant, does beneficiaries pay money to buy clusters, to buy sponsorship, to do partnership deals, EDC in a grant, giving the grant handler that is disbursing to the grant handler?
No. In the ideal thing, the beneficiaries are the reason why you are paying out the intervention. So they can't give you money. Now, if there's an emergency, If an organization is set up to be that you're going to be responding to emergency and there's a natural disaster and you come out and get funds, grants to deal with that, how will you go and ask the beneficiaries? When Red Cross is responding to natural disaster or any emergency, do they ask the people who are affected by the disaster to make contributions? They don't. When you're responding to issues of saying that you want to encourage people to go to hospital and deliver to reduce issues of maternal mortality, do you ask them to pay money? You do not. So when they're beginning to ask beneficiaries to make contributions and they're telling you proposal you will write, when the money comes to you, you give me this, I give you that. Those are not it. It's a scam.
Straight up, no eyes. You just saw that from the doctor. Can see that he nailed everything. All those guys promising us millions, billions at the same time. You know, cornering money from us for sales of clusters, EDC. It is not done. All right. If we have more questions to hit the doctor on the hot seat, you can raise your hand up. Do we have anybody here with a question? Madam Blessing, legendary Blessing. Do you have anything to say? Madam? Madam Blessing. Madam B. Oh, she has gone off. Anyways, you're still on the hot seat. That is my chat show today. The Electrifying Hitman I Am Michael's chat show, powered by Genuine Grant Mobilization Movement. I got the Dr. Aja on the hot seat today, dissecting questions. On the final note, what do you have to tell Nigerians now that you've exposed the fact that any grant that has to do with money being paid by the beneficiary is a scam? Then how can you explain a real grant and how it works, sir?
Anybody who is asking you that pay money to get a grant probably is a profit-making organization. So if a cooperative comes and says, we've got some money, we want you to register, fill this form and fill this form, so we give you this to do that. That's assuming they have the money. That in itself is a profit-making organization. Now, for those who are coming up now to tell you they have gotten so grant, you can invoke the Freedom of Information Act and demand a proof where the money is being held. Those monies are held by banks. You're not asking because you want to use the money, but it's to give you an assurance for what you are investing. Now, for all the monies that you have sent in, they have told you they will disburse in December. They will disburse this time. They keep giving you time and they keep failing. Those failures is a breach of contract and is sufficient enough for you to go to court with them. And your accusation is that this unexplainable breach of contract is a clear indication that the organization itself is fraudulent or they are promising what they cannot give. And if they can give it, then let them bring a bank statement from the bank showing the amount of money they claim they have. That's one way we can go about it. And so, in summary, before you begin to pay money for whatever you want or whatever somebody is claiming he has, you can ask for a proof of what they have.
That was straight up from the doctor, Jay, on the hot seat today. Today is Tuesday, 9th of January, 2024. We had everything. And he has educated us, informed us, and enlightened us about the true happenings in the grant community worldwide. So what is your parting shot to the masses, sir, to close the show? If there's no question, or if we have anybody with more questions, you can raise your hand. And before we end up the show. So what is your parting shot to the masses, sir?
Hello?
So what is your parting shot to the masses? What do you have to say to encourage them the more or to educate them better? Just to close the show.
Keep faith in whatever you're doing. Ask questions where you're confused. Seek information to empower you. Whatever idea you have and you're in a crossroad, I'll always be available to provide, answers that can bring us out of the wood and we can move. Now, for those who have genuinely set up organizations to address issues of poverty, to address issues concerning people, don't give up. We can work with your organization, build your capacity, and help you cut your quota according to your size and address the needs of your primary target audience. There are some people who believe these scammers and they have gone to several areas, convinced people. Today, there's a challenge. The people you've spoken with will see you as part of the deceit. Let's begin to educate them that this is what you have discovered. And it appears that that thing has been a scam. So that's the only way you can begin to free yourself. But I'm open, any information, anywhere to move us forward. You can share my phone number, share my contact, and then anytime I'm ready to provide whatever technical assistance I can for us to move forward.
All right, that was the Dr. Adjo on the hot seat today. Today's show is powered by GNU Grants Movement. This is what we're calling it a wrap if there's no question. Is there anybody with question here for the doctor? It's like the doctor has dissected everything to our comprehension. Anyways, join us by Saturday, 8 p.m. on African Grant Movement. We'll be having the legendary Pastor Andrew from Jos. We got a special guest. That is legendary. I call him the Big Papa. Legendary, biggest elder statesman. Big Papa Reverend Bartholomew is our special guest on Saturday on the hot seat. So he will be joined by legendary Pastor Andrew from Jos, legendary A.A. Musa, legendary Aminu Sadoki, EDC, legendary African Mr. Joe, legendary Ajayi Adegoke, EDC on the hot seat to dissect things. Between now and then, keep your head up, follow the instruction, follow the rules, and be wise this time around not to be fooled. This is where we'll be calling it a wrap from the chat show today, powered by GNU Grant Mobilization Movement. The CEO is Madam Blessing. Madam Blessing, before we call it a wrap, do you have anything to say? Madam Blessing. All right, this is where we'll be calling it a wrap from the show today. The show is very, very explosive and highly educated. Thank you very much for coming, everybody. Good night.
Thank you for watching, and I would love to know what you think about this latest update in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe for the next update.